What's up, Tailgaters? My name is Tailgate Nate. Welcome back to my channel, and happy Mother's Day for any mothers that may be watching this video out there. Happy Mother's Day to you. Thank you for all that you do. We couldn't be here without you, so thank you. I'm back with another schedule preview and record prediction video, and today we're going to be doing the 2020 Alabama Crimson Tide. Alabama was a team last year that did not live up to Alabama's standards. They went 11-2. They played in the Citrus Bowl against Michigan, and they missed out on the playoffs for the first time since the playoffs came into existence in 2014. So I think most people are hoping that Alabama can get back into the playoffs. And in order to do that, they have to get through in what is, in my opinion, a very, very tough schedule. So without further ado, let's go ahead and let's take a look at the Alabama schedule. Here it is. Here's the Crimson Tide schedule. Before we dive into that, you see down there, their 2019 record was 11-2. Like I said, the Citrus Bowl win against Michigan got them to 11 wins, 2 regular season losses, didn't even play the SEC championship game, and did not make it to the playoff. And up there in the key, you'll see their home games are going to be in crimson. Their away games are going to be in white with a crimson background. And then they have one neutral site game, and that is going to be in black. So let's not waste any more time, and let's go ahead and dive right into the schedule. And we're going to start over there with their first game of the season. It's the Cowboy kickoff in AT&T Stadium in, I believe it's Dallas or Arlington, Texas. It's their one neutral site game, and they're going to play USC. USC is one of the many teams that people are hyping up this year, and I think USC has the talent to be really, really good. And their schedule is favorable for USC. It's not too difficult. It's not that easy either, especially because you have to play this team. You have to play Alabama. And look, I would love to say that USC could make this a really good game, but I just don't know. I think Alabama has too much talent on both sides of the ball. I think USC's shot was Michael Pittman, and he just went to the NFL draft. I don't think USC has a shot in this game. Maybe it'll be close. Maybe USC will be better than we think. But week one, Alabama's out to impress. They're out for blood. They want back in the playoffs. I think Alabama will beat USC in the Cowboy kickoff. Their next game, they're going to come home and play Georgia State. I don't have to talk much about this one. Georgia State upset Tennessee last year, and that was about it. Georgia State is a fairly decent team, in my opinion. They're not super bad, but they're also not really terrific. They're a pretty average team, in my opinion. I think Georgia State could make a bowl game this year. But they have to play Alabama, and that should be it right there. Alabama's too good. Georgia State's not winning this game. Then they get the game that everyone is talking about on the schedule. They have to play Georgia. So Georgia is a really interesting team. Of course, they're bringing Jamie Newman in. They're losing DeAndre Swift. They're losing lots of guys on both sides of the ball. They're bringing a lot back, and Georgia's defense is going to be really, really good. And I think this is going to be a great game to watch. I think I'm going to favor Alabama here just because the game is at home for Alabama. I'm going to favor Alabama in this one, but I think this is going to be a great game. It's going to be a one-possession game. I think the difference here will be the offensive play. I think both defenses are pretty evenly matched. And then I think Alabama's offense is just more explosive than Georgia. So I think Alabama gets the win there, at least as of right now. I think it'll be close. But yeah, I think Alabama might pull this one out. Then they have to play Kent State. I'm not going to talk about this one long either because it's Kent State, and we all expect Alabama to beat Kent State. Kent State, again, it's just a big talent gap. Alabama, too many guys that are twice as good as anyone Kent State brings to the table. So Alabama, big. Then they have to play Ole Miss on the road. This is an interesting game. Ole Miss is going to be coached by Lane Kiffin, an old Alabama assistant coach. So it should be a very fun game to watch. Maybe could be a possible trap game if Ole Miss proves to be a real decent team. But as of right now, I got to give Bama the win on this one. Again, too much talent on both sides of the ball. Ole Miss won't be able to handle it. I think Ole Miss can last maybe a half with Alabama, but not 4 quarters. Then they have to go on the road again. They're going to play Arkansas. Arkansas, kind of like Ole Miss, it could be a possible trap game. I think Arkansas is going to improve this year, but again, I just don't see it. I don't see Arkansas coming close to Alabama. Again, just too many weapons for Alabama. They can beat you in every facet of the game. So I think Alabama will get the win there. Then they go back at home to play Mississippi State. Mississippi State is bringing in a new head coach in Mike Leach. He was the coach at Washington State, one of the great personalities we have in college football. Him, Mike Gundy, some of the greatest personalities we have. And this game could also be interesting because Mississippi State, I don't think caught a lot of people's eyes. They were 6-6 last year. And I think they got crushed in their bowl game against Louisville. I think they played Louisville. So Mississippi State's a very interesting team. I think it's going to be fun to watch them improve, which I think they will improve. They're getting their quarterback back and everyone around Mississippi State. But again, just not enough talent to beat Alabama. Alabama will pull that one out too. Then next week, they got to play Tennessee. This game is on the road. Now I know I've said a lot of these games are interesting. This is a really interesting game to me. Tennessee on the road. Everyone typing up Tennessee. Tennessee is supposed to be a fairly good team this year. And I think this could be a game where Tennessee maybe could surprise a lot of people. As of right now, I cannot see it. Maybe if Tennessee proves to be a better team than we all think. I know we think they're going to be good, but if they prove to be like a top 10 team, maybe they can beat Alabama here. It's going to be on the road. But as of right now, I got to give this one to Bama. Just, again, like I've said so many times, too much of a talent gap. It's insane. So, Bama. Then they get their bye week, a perfect place to have a bye week. It's right before our next game, which I'm going to talk about, at LSU. We all know what happened last year. LSU controlled that entire game. I know the final score was like 46-41. But LSU controlled the entire game last year. And this year, LSU is going to get Alabama at home. These two teams love to go at it. There's been a lot of fun games recently in the past between these two. I don't know who to give the edge to in this game because home field advantage definitely plays into the factor with LSU. But Alabama, I think, has more talent than LSU. So I think I'm going to give the slight edge to Alabama, maybe somewhere along the lines of like a 55-45 game in favor of Alabama right now. Just because of the talent that Alabama has. But again, I'm not going to be surprised if LSU pulls out the win here. Next, they get to come at home, and it's a cupcake. It's the SEC cupcake. They're going to face University of Tennessee Martin, which I believe is a top 25 FCS team, if I'm not mistaken. But again, it's an FCS team. I'm not going to talk about this game any longer either. Alabama big. Next game, they get to play Texas A&M. I maybe would consider Texas A&M in this game if it was at home, because of course you're getting Kellen Mond back, you're getting a lot of weapons back. The defense is supposed to be pretty decent, but they have to play Alabama on the road. They have to play Alabama in Bryant-Denny Stadium, and that's huge. If Texas A&M were to have played this game at home, I maybe would consider the possibility of Texas A&M beating Bama, but because it's on the road, I think there's no way. I know Texas A&M supposed to be a top 15 team next year, but again, I just don't see it. There's a very big margin between this year's top 5 teams and then teams 6 through 10. There's just such a big gap. So Alabama gets it done. Then, of course, their last game of the season, it's the Iron Bowl, Auburn and Alabama. It's going to be in Bryant-Denny Stadium this year. These two teams have gone back and forth year in and year out. It's one of the craziest rivalries in college football. Everyone remembers the kick six. Everyone remembers last year where Alabama had the chance to tie it, to put it in the overtime, and the kicker missed it off the upright, and Alabama lost tragically. So I think I know I have Auburn as a top 11 team right now, but I think I'm going to give this one to Alabama right now. Again, just too much talent. Bo Nix has only played Alabama once, and of course, Alabama was not at 100% of what Alabama is capable of. So again, I'm going to give the slight edge to Alabama, but again, not going to be surprised if Auburn pulls off the upset because it is a rivalry game. So with all of this being said and everything being considered, my final prediction for Alabama in 2020 is 11-1. I say 11-1 because I know I'm favoring Alabama in all of their games here, but the SEC is so competitive this year and Alabama's schedule is so tough. The safe bet would be to have them lose one game. And I think the games that they could possibly lose are maybe the SEC or maybe the USC game, maybe not really a high percentage in my book, but if USC is better than people expect or Alabama's just not as good as people expect, maybe USC can beat them. But I think the one loss more likely will come to either Georgia, LSU, or Auburn. Those are the three teams that I think Alabama really needs to look out for. Again, you should probably look out for Ole Miss and Tennessee. Those games are going to be on the road. They could be possible trap games. But the three big teams on the schedule I think Alabama need to watch out for are Georgia, LSU, and Auburn. And I think ultimately Alabama's going to end up losing one of those games. So now let's move on to the record range. The record range is where I take this team's worst case scenario, and then I take this team's best case scenario. So the worst case scenario I have for Alabama is 9-3. And like I said, it's USC, Georgia, LSU, Auburn. Those are the four games that Bama needs to look out for. And I have them, I think they're going to win at least one of those games because they're Alabama. They usually do well in big games. But again, if Alabama is just not that good and Mac Jones doesn't improve like we all think he's going to improve, then Alabama is possibly going to go 9-3. I think they're going to win one of these games, and I'm going to bet it's the USC game. But for the most part, I think if Alabama just doesn't live up to, they're going to go 9-3. Then, of course, their best case scenario, I think you all saw this coming. The best case scenario for Alabama is 12-0 again. I would favor Alabama in all of these games as of right now. I'd favor them in Georgia because it's at home. I'd favor them in LSU, maybe by maybe a point or two, just because of the talent that Alabama brings, and I'd favor them over any other team on the schedule easily. So, of course, Alabama's best case scenario is 12-0, but my prediction for Alabama is 11-1. All right, so that is going to do it for my 2020 schedule preview and record prediction for the Alabama Crimson Tide. If you guys enjoyed, please do leave a like. Also consider subscribing if you are brand new to the channel or just enjoy my content, and leave a comment down below. What do you have Alabama going? What's your predicted record? What are some games you think Alabama could travel on? Just leave me your thoughts down in the comment section below. Again, happy Mother's Day to any mothers out there watching. I love what you do. I personally have one of the best moms in the entire world. So just, if you're watching this video, thank your mom today. You know, she's gone through a lot for you, so make it worth her while. Share this video with her. I don't know, she might enjoy it. And anyway, guys, until next time, play hard, but tailgate harder. I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.